Growing up and even now, Final Fantasy is one of my favorite game series. I've played pretty much every mainline Final Fantasy game from 2 to 15, every MMO from 11 and 14. I even played 14 before they fixed it and it became A Realm Reborn. I've played Crisis Core, Dirge of Cerberus, Crystal Chronicles. I was even mad when they took out all of the Final Fantasy characters from Kingdom Hearts 3. Heck, my daughter's legal name is Aerith, so it's safe to say I'm a really big fan of the series. This is my third time beating Final Fantasy VII Remake, and I'm glad I can give my thoughts on it now before a Rebirth comes out. The hype was real for me and so many others when they released Final Fantasy VII Remake on PlayStation 4 a couple years ago. Unfortunately, I wasn't doing YouTube as much as I do now, and didn't really have the means to capture the game the way I do now. Going into this game, I had to take my nostalgia for the original game out, and go into this as a new experience, and boy did this game not disappoint me. Well, some parts of the game. For people that are picking this up for the first time, all I can say is you're gonna have a good time. But if you have the time, go play the original 2 after you beat this, so that way you can get the feeling that we all had when we first played the game and made it to disc 3 and had that final fight. Now, I'm gonna try to keep this as spoiler free as much as I can, but be warned there might be some throughout this video. And I'm only covering the base game at the moment, not the DLC, since I'm currently going through that now and will give my opinion when I'm done playing. Let's talk about the story. The main character Cloud is recruited as a merc for hire by the so-called terrorist group Avalanche to take out the Maka reactors that Shinra are using that are sucking the planet dry of the lifestream. The one thing I really loved about the remake is that it gives you a different perspective on things, and I love the fact that the characters ask themselves if they're doing the right thing or not. And walking around all the destruction caused by you and your group gives you a feeling that the OG game hinted, but never went in depth like this. The remake takes place only in Midgar, and in the original game was only about 4 to 6 hours. And that part of the game set the tone before the game opened up more. But it was really great to see Midgar with upgraded graphics and what I can say the best battle system this game has seen in a while. From the moment you load up and that first cutscene starts, you can see the changes that they made from the original game to now. Once the train rolls up to the station and everybody jumps off, it starts the beginning of the first bombing mission. And man, it was great seeing everything with updated graphics, especially when you remember the blocky characters from the OG game. It made me really love seeing the first mission in all its glory, and the boss fight at the end was just as epic as you would think it would be, especially with the updated battle system. This game really made me feel for the characters, and the extra missions with Jessie, Biggs, and Wedge were a great addition that the OG game didn't have and really brought you into their world. Like the mission with Jessie when we had to visit her parents and steal the card from their coat pocket. And when you get inside there, her dad is laying on the bed sick. It really gave a different view on her life and brought me closer to a person that was just another body in the OG game. Let's talk about the combat. The new combat system was a much needed change in my opinion. The old combat system was a classic. It was a turn-based weight system. The new one, on the other hand, is a more active battle mechanic that still incorporates the old weight system. So basically how it works is you have 2 main attacks that fill up your ATB meter. And when your ATB is filled, you can perform different things like use your skills, potions, and other different things. Like I said, I really love this new battle system. Combat was fast and some fights literally left me on the edge of my seat. The fight that really made me learn the mechanics and how to switch between the characters was the Airbuster fight. And I love how time slows down when you go into the active wait mode. It gave me time to prepare for my next attack. And by the time that the fight was over, all I kept thinking of, man, this was epic. I can't wait to see the later fights. And I can tell you now, the game didn't disappoint with any of the fights you get into. And some of the fights were actually pretty tough. Like when you fight Reno and Rude later in the game, oh man, it was great. And I also love summoning in the game. Now, even though it's not anything new to see summons fight with you on screen, but it was really cool and also helped turn the tide of the battle. Plus, their finishing moves were great to see with updated graphics. One thing Final Fantasy VII is known for was its great music, and the game brought back a lot of the classic music, and some new ones too. And it was great fighting to a lot of them and also collecting them too. And the cool part is you can listen to them through the in-game jukebox, and I thought this was another great addition to the game. The new missions in the game were really cool to have also. Now, not all the missions were great though, and we'll talk about those ones a bit in my con section, but a lot of them were really fun and brought some extra life to most of the characters, It made what originally was the starting area in the OG a full-fledged out game. And it really helped that the voice acting was excellent, even though they had some cringy lines at times. But the OG had some bad translations also, so it really wasn't anything I was bothered with. Let's talk about the world. Midgar was great to travel in, from seeing Sector 7, 8, and Wall Market, plus the few times you go up to the top plate and see how people are living up there, and not to mention the few other places. I had a really good time exploring the many different locations this game had to offer. I heard a lot of people complaining about how linear this game is, but the OG one was linear also. The remake actually gives you a lot more freedom to walk around and find treasure. And some parts, even though they were small, gave a little bit more exploration. So let's talk about the cons. My first is a very small complaint, but there's no jump button. Now, it's not needed in this game, but when fighting a flying enemy, it would be nice to have. Now, you can auto jump when using your regular attacks against flying enemies, but a jump button really would have been good to have. My other small complaint is some of the side missions really weren't too interesting. Just a lot of go here, find missing kids and fight this, or go here and get this for me and fight this. Now, it's not the worst thing since the combat is so much fun, but you can tell they're just there to make the game longer. Another small complaint was the background. It looked so low res it stood out from the already good looking graphics. Now, on the PC version, I noticed that they upscaled it a bit, but it definitely stood out though. My biggest complaint is some of the new filler content. I'm not a big fan of the whispers in this game. I thought they were annoying, but not game breaking though. Another big complaint was a couple of the new missions just felt dragged on to fill the game in more. There were two in general that stood out. Like before the second bombing mission, you go through this part where you had to turn on multiple heat lamps and make your way through a very drawn out section of the game. And all I kept thinking was, man, am I done yet so we can get back to the story? The other was when you take this so-called shortcut with Aerith and have to guide her on these mechanical arms. Now, they were in the OG game, but they were just something that you walked on once. But in the remake, they have you become a crane operator just so you can get to the other side. It just felt really unnecessary, and they really could have did without them. But overall, I had a blast with the remake, and it was great to see Cloud and the rest of the gang with updated graphics and a very well done battle system. I give the game a 9 out of 10. I'll be coming out with my thoughts of the DLC as soon as I'm done with it, so be on the lookout for it. And if you liked the video, hit the like and subscribe button. It helps the channel out a lot. Also, join the Discord, link in the description below. I really suggest you pick this game up, especially if it's your first time playing. But also, I really suggest picking up the OG game too. Well, comment, like, and subscribe, guys. Let me know if you like the game or not. I'll leave you guys with some gameplay. There you guys go. Take care.
It's just a house.
That's no ordinary house.
The manifestation of pure evil versus the most badass couple this side of Midgar! Have you ever seen a fight more incredible, more epic? You have not! No, sir, you have not! They'll be singing songs about tonight for generations to come!
Keep your eyes glued to the action, ladies and gentlemen!
The Cup's final battle begins now! Oh, the battle is joined! And already I can tell you this bonus match will not be the book!
This battle is not the toughest of the tough, the meanest of the mean. But can they handle the horror of the Hellhound?
Who will come out on top? Strap yourself in, folks, because this show is only getting started! Well, that sure ain't working. What hell? Cloud takes control of the fight and is really showing this building who fought. Get loaded with bulging biceps. I know when Eric sees him. A barrage of furniture is headed straight